On September the 16th, the Justice Secretary misrepresented Professor Alexis Jay to justify the SNP's opposition to a grooming gangs inquiry. For months, in public and in Parliament, she denied any wrongdoing. But we now know that Angela Constance apologised to Professor Jay on the 1st of December. She knew that she was wrong all along, but she tried to get away with it. Yesterday, a full 9 weeks later, Angela Constance was forced to finally come clean. Does John Swinney believe that Angela Constance tried to correct the record at the earliest possible opportunity?
First Minister.
I think the events of the last few weeks and months demonstrate that Angela Constance has set out to Parliament the position of the Government, and where there has been a necessity for further information to be provided, she has done exactly that. And the Justice Secretary spent the best part of 2 hours yesterday at committee explaining all of these issues and addressing the very issues that Mr Finlay is putting to me this morning.
Russell Finlay.
The information has been dragged out of the Justice Secretary. Paragraph 1.7 of the Ministerial Code is crystal clear, and I'll read it out for John Swinney's benefit. It states that ministers must give, and I quote, accurate and truthful information to Parliament, correcting any inadvertent error at the earliest opportunity. Angela Constance blatantly and brazenly decided not to correct the record at the earliest possible opportunity. How can John Swinney pretend to himself and to the public that Angela Constance has not breached the Ministerial Code?
First Minister.
As I've said on a number of occasions to Parliament, Angela Constance was making a general observation drawing on the remarks of Professor Alexis Jay back in September. And having looked at the issue and looked at all of the material, I'm content there's been no breach of the Ministerial Code.
Russell Finlay.
Professor Jay told the Scottish Parliament that she'd been misrepresented on September the 26th. Now that was Angela Constance's earliest opportunity to correct the record. She could have corrected the record. She should have corrected the record in September, October, November and December. She should have corrected the record when we challenged her in 3 urgent questions, 2 ministerial statements, 2 First Minister's questions and a motion of no confidence. She should have corrected the record after being repeatedly challenged by grooming gang victims and by journalists. 3 months have passed, and only now is Angela Constance trying to correct the record. She didn't correct the record at the earliest opportunity as required under the Ministerial Code. So how on earth can John Swinney continue to defend his disgraced Justice Secretary?
First Minister.
As I've said to Parliament before, and as I said to Parliament on Tuesday when this issue was debated and Parliament expressed its confidence in the Justice Secretary, people will take different conclusions from the words that we use in Parliament. What the Justice Secretary is trying to do, is to address the concerns that have been set out, and to do that in a comprehensive and open way, as she did with the committee yesterday.
Let's hear one another. Those who are in the gallery would like to hear.
I'm satisfied with the steps that have been taken to deal with this matter.
Russell Finlay.
This scandal, and it is a scandal, it shows the very worst of the SNP. It does. Cynical and calculating, dishonest and devious. Exactly. A government that always chooses short-term political fixes and convenience. Never about what's doing right for victims, always about what's doing right for the SNP. Angela Constance's evidence to the Education Committee yesterday was shambolic and indefensible. The Justice Secretary has confirmed beyond any doubt whatsoever that she broke the Ministerial Code by refusing to admit her mistake at the earliest opportunity. Angela Constance misled the public, Parliament and grooming gang victims. So what on earth does it take for John Swinney to sack any of his ministers?
First Minister.
Presiding Officer, Mr Finlay used some pretty strong language in his question there. He talked about cynical, calculating and dishonest. And what I want to say to Mr Finlay is the amendment that was put forward by Liam Kerr in the Victims and Witnesses Bill and the actions of the Conservative Party after that was defeated were actions that were cynical, calculating and dishonest. Because Mr Finlay knows full well that the amendment that was put forward by Liam Kerr would not have delivered a grooming gangs inquiry. It would have delivered none of the action that the Scottish Government is now taking, whether that's the actions of the 4 independent inspectorates or whether it's the actions of Police Scotland or the work of the National Childhood Sexual Abuse Panel. What Mr Finlay and his colleagues were putting forward, how they behaved around that circumstance.
First Minister, it's really important that each and every member in here has an opportunity to speak when called to do so, and I would ask members to treat one another with courtesy and respect.
Simply say to Mr Finlay that the proposition that was put forward by his colleague in September had no effect whatsoever in delivering a grooming inquiry. That will not deliver for the victims who have suffered sexual abuse. This government is taking the practical action to do it, and we will continue to do so.
Thank you. I would remind members that many members have an interest in putting a question today, and that will be more likely if we can proceed and hear one another.